Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson of the Morning Report. I wanted to do a short, actually all our videos are short, but I wanted to do a short particularly on immigration, because I think that immigration is going to be one of those key things that are going to drive or could drive the November elections. And it seems like everybody's got an opinion about what what they ought to do. It's like if you've decided that you are not going to let certain people come to your house, and then everybody in the neighborhood thinks you ought to be doing this or that, because people are trying to sell stuff, and you're like, I don't want people at my house trying to sell me stuff. So I put up a sign, and then you're like, I can't believe you put up a sign and you wouldn't talk to people. This is kind of what it's like to me. Even so much that the Pope decided that he would get in on this discussion about how the United States should be handling mass migration. Now, Norah O'Donnell of 60 Minutes didn't ask the Pope, so what if all these people showed up in Vatican City? What would you do? Would you just take them in? All of them? All 30 million of them? Vatican City? Would the Swiss Guard let them in? She didn't ask that question, so I'm asking that question. And the Pope's not going to answer me, but here's what he had to say on an edition of 60 Minutes.
Migration is something that makes a country grow. They say that you Irish migrated and brought the whiskey. And that the Italians migrated and brought the mafia. It's a joke. Don't take it badly. But migrants sometimes suffer a lot. They suffer a lot. To close the border and leave them there, that is madness. The migrant has to be received. Thereafter, you see how you're going to deal with them. Maybe you have to send them back. I don't know. But each case ought to be considered humanely.
There you've got an extraordinary interview last night on 60 Minutes. Pope Francis giving his take on America's border crisis during a rare sit-down with Norah O'Donnell.
The pontiff saying migrant cases must be considered humanely, and trying to close the border is madness.
And it's
trying to close the border is madness because it's not his border. Anytime, my feeling is anytime that somebody else is telling you what to do with your things, your place, your money, you should be, looking at them with an askance eye, like somehow the Pope has some, I don't know, right to tell the United States how to handle their border. As if the United States could tell Vatican City how to handle Vatican City. The Pope would say, no, I'm going to do things the way I think we should do things here. Right? Well, to the Pope, respectfully, we're going to do things the way that benefits us. Fortunately, we have, when we wondered if we have anybody on the Republican side of the aisle, at least, that is ready to stand up to, and we did a show this morning, the Morning Report, and we talked about media bias. We talked about a couple of stories. Now, what we're going to do is going to show you how the mainstream media works in a couple of instances right here as this goes on. This is what is it? Meet the Press on Sunday with Marco Rubio and the host. It's about, well, you'll see what it's about.
If reelected, Donald Trump has said he's willing to build migrant detention camps and deploy the U.S. military to deport the more than 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country. It would be the largest deportation operation in American history. Do you support that plan?
11 million. That's an outdated. That was the number 10 years ago. We're talking upwards of 20, 25, maybe 30 million. Well, there's been almost 10 million people that have entered this country in the last 3 years.
The question, would you support it?
The number varies big time. I mean, it's another 9 to 10 million people just in the last 3 years. The answer to your question is yes. We cannot absorb 25, 30 million people who entered this country illegally. They're here illegally. What country on earth would tolerate that? We don't even know who most of these people are. They talk about vetting them with what? They're coming from nations that don't even have document systems in many cases. Yes, we are going to have to do something, unfortunately. We're going to have to do something dramatic to remove people from this country that are here illegally, especially people we know nothing about. But 10 million, 11 million, that was the number 15 years ago. Today, it's upwards of probably 25 to 30 million, maybe more.
Senator,
Okay. First of all, Marco Rubio dismissed the premise of her question to start with. But there was somehow 11 million people here when we know that number. We hear at Fight Back Media and Willie Lawson show and back when we're talking about 10 or 11 million people. We know that number is over 25 million, and we also know that 11 million number is happened in the past 3 years. So this the whole premise of her question is disingenuous. Now look what happens. Now this is supposed to be an interview. She asked this question: would you support Donald Trump putting up places to house illegal immigrants all along the border? Now, first of all, he does two things really good. What he does is he tells her that her question is BS, and then secondly, he answers the question that he wants to answer. He says yes. Now, check out what the press does. They were ready. This was supposed to be a gotcha moment. Here's what happens.
That's what you said about Donald Trump's mass deportations proposals in 2016. Take a look.
I don't think it's reasonable to say you're going to round up and deport 11 million people. I don't think it's a plan that works. I don't think that's a realistic policy.
So
now, they had those clips ready to play. Ready to play. So now, Marco Rubio is supposed to look like a hypocrite, right? Because back in 2013, or 2000, whatever, he said this. Now you're saying this. Here's what Marco does.
why have you changed your mind now?
Because the issue has completely changed. When I said that, and back in 2013, when I was involved in immigration reform, we had 11, 12 million people that had been here for longer than a decade. Now we've had almost that number in the last 3 years alone from all over the world, including people that I believe are terrorists, people that I believe are going to conduct terrorist attacks in this country if given the opportunity, certainly people that were criminals in their home country. This is a completely different, this is not immigration. You asked me about immigration. This is mass migration. Mass migration. This is an invasion of the country. And it needs to be dealt with dramatically. And by the way, I'm not a big poll follower, but polls show most Americans agree with us on this.
And of course, that...
Okay. Now, the sparring match that's supposed to be an interview hasn't ended yet. Here's what she's going to do. She's not going to ask a question. She's going to make a statement. And what she wants to do is just move on after she tries to make a point. She tries to get a point. And a gotcha moment that they missed. Oops, missed. But she says, but you know what, this right here, right? But what about this? And Marco doesn't let her get away with it.
Was an issue under former President Trump as well. There was just a bipartisan proposal that was put on the table that would put more funding into border enforcement as well as limiting asylum. Republicans walked away from that. But let me move on to my next question.
Now let me move on to my next question.
No, we can't move on because that's not what that bill did. That bill also created asylum officers who right on the border will be able to give people asylum. And you give someone asylum right on the border without any appeal, no judge, nothing, just an asylum officer, they are on a path to citizenship. That's why I oppose that bill.
Your fellow Republican said it was the best deal that they had seen in a long, long time. But Senator,
which fellow Republican?
Senator Lindsey Graham.
Which fellow Republican said that?
Senator Lindsey Graham. Just
okay, well then I disagree with Lindsey if that's what he said. But I'm not in favor of asylum officers at the border that can issue asylum rulings right at the border.
And Senator James Langford, of course, negotiated. But let me look forward. Will you accept the election result?
This is why we did the video this morning. When you see the mainstream media, when you see the press, it's obvious that they've got an agenda, and they, that nothing, is ever on the up and up. They aren't asking questions to get knowledge. They're having Republicans on as props to make points. Which is why Laura Trump's already said that although Donald Trump has said yes to all these debates, that the deck is stacked against him. I mean, unless he does one of the debates on Newsmax, it's going to be uphill battle. Absolute uphill battle. Don't you think? Well, I got to say, no matter what you think, whatever you guys have thought about Marco Rubio, I've always been a fan. I've gotten a chance to meet the senator more than once, and I've always thought that he's a pretty good dude. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and is tough. And it doesn't seem like he's tough as nails, but he is absolutely tough as nails. So congratulations, Marco. Nice job. And Kristen Walker, you need to apologize for Russia, incessantly. Not only were you wrong, even when you knew you were wrong, and you kept doing it, which makes you a liar. And then the benefit of that is that you get promoted. You get promoted to one of the most prestigious journalism gigs in TV, in TV news. The host of Meet the Press. After lying and lying and lying and lying to the American public. Now you're supposed to be in a position of in journalism where you are kind of up on a pedestal, that you are this epitome of fairness and this epitome of truth and information, and when you're just a liar. Anyway, I got to get out of here. Thank you ever so much for coming to our video. We'll see you in the next one. My name is Willie Lawson. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.